Strange but true.
All right. So this comes from the Huffington Post, but more than that, it was brought to our attention by a fan of the nonprofits. They submitted an article, and I really liked it and said, "Nope, we're going to go ahead and throw this in here." And let's not, you know, realize the fact that it was my wife who has submitted it. Anyways, so this is all about how dogs are just too good for people. So in uh, South Carolina, there was this theistic couple that adopted a dog, a little Rottweiler, um, cute little thing too, as little as a Rottweiler can get.
As dogs are.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were concerned because this male dog, unneutered, did what male dogs do and humped another dog who just happened to be male as well. And so, being concerned that their dog was gay, decided to then surrender it to the ASPCA down there in Greater Charlotte. I said South Carolina. That would be North Carolina. My bad. So that it was found out that obviously the dog wasn't neutered, but it also had heartworms, was malnourished, and just was not treated like a member of the family. And under circumstances like that, you feel for the dog, and you're like, oh well, what's next for them? Well, apparently that perfect timing for a little interruption right there, right? So what happened was is another gay couple found out about Fresco's story, took pity, and took him into his home, nursed him back to health, and renamed him Oscar after Oscar Wilde, a writer who himself was gay as well. And ultimately, Oscar is just a good boy, and the previous owners, how do you, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you say, oh well, he's gay. It's like, no, he's a dog doing what dogs do. um Josh, what are your feelings on this?
Well, apparently my dog wants to be vocal about this, so I'll try to make it quick. Dogs hump things. Dogs hump absolutely everything that they can get their hinds on. I have had several dogs in my life, and every single one of them will hump any dog, regardless of gender, anything that's shaped like it looks like it'd be good to be humping. And like, from what I read up, and I actually did research on this, is I was like, can dogs be gay? And basically, they say dogs don't really have a sexuality; they just like to hump. So like, it doesn't matter the gender to them. They're like the old days of Rome. They'll hump whatever they can get. So dogs, great in that aspect. These people, terrible people. Take care of your gay dogs. I don't care if you have a problem with them. And the fact that they were had worms, horrible. I can understand you. You're terrible people, don't want your dog to be doing that kind of stuff. Take them to people that'll take care of the dog, because I saw pictures of this dog, and this dog is cute. People would happily take that dog instead of letting it get abused. This makes me angry. I'm a very big animal person, so like the fact that they mistreated this dog, not just the fact that they were bigoted to it, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of anybody doing. Bigotry towards a dog. Before this article, I didn't think that would be a thing. And yeah, I'm happy that this dog's gotten taken care of by people that are actually going to love it and treat it well. Yeah, that's my piece on this. Like, treat your animals with respect.
Absolutely. I mean, there are our companions. Richard, what do you have to say on this?
Yeah, I'm glad this story had a happy ending. I've from when I first saw this story, I was kind of trying to put myself in the position of the people with this dog. Watching it approach another dog, mount it as dogs do, engage in a little bouncy as dogs do, and then looking down below the underneath the dog being the recipient of said bouncy, and seeing a gentleman's sausage there, and being absolutely disgusted by that. I don't know how. It just I can't put myself in that position where I can view myself looking at that and seeing disgust in it. Anybody who's been around dogs for any length of time whatsoever knows that, as Josh said, dogs will just clamber onto anything. They will hump anything, boy, girl, mat, fish, teddy bear, whatever. They don't care. They're not bothered. And that somebody does not understand this questions to me why they should be in ownership of a dog in the first place.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, so I only rescue dogs. The dog that I had previous to this one, we actually had to pay for her heartworm treatment, and we got to see firsthand what that did to her. And if nobody knows, for heartworm treatments, you are poisoning your animal and hoping that the dog wins. That's essentially what it is. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but your dog becomes very lethargic. It becomes very weak, and there have been dogs who died from heartworm treatments. Now, less have died from the heartworm treatments than die from heartworms, so you definitely have to have that. But heartworm treatments are so inexpensive compared to what you would do to just neglect the dog. It costs so much more to neglect an animal, just like it costs so much more to neglect people. So who how else do these people, like, if they're willing to treat a dog like this? What if they have kids? What would they do in that situation? I shudder to think what they would do.
Well, we've heard of families giving up their kids because they're gay and like basically acting like they don't exist, like they're dead to them. I think it's probably, well, it'd be harder for me to do that to a dog, but I could never disown anybody that I care about. And dogs are part of the family. Your family is your kids. It is your dogs. Doesn't matter what they love. Dogs love everything. You got to take care of them. You got to love them. You got to treat them well. Take care of them. I don't understand how they can do this without any guilt. That would be more than any money for me, is the guilt I would feel about neglecting a dog. Like that's unconscionable to me, to that they treat this dog so poorly, and it has to go through this treatment with luckily a couple that cares about him. But it's a gross thing. It's having a hard time even keeping focused because it's just like angry.
And yeah, and again, I want to remind everybody that as terrible as the previous couple was, this, it was 100% a good, happy ending. A great job to the GCSPA for what they did. And I would also like to mention that on the day that this is airing, April 10th, is the foundation of the ASPCA itself. Who have been instrumental in helping a lot of different animals, and definitely one of the better places to, get a pet, because it's more rescue. You're not buying. I know we're not supposed to do call to actions, but I would encourage people to adopt or rescue rather than try to buy designer. You get a much better animal that way. Tends to be healthier, provided that they get through some of their medical treatments, because I mean, they get what they can get, and sometimes, a lot of times, it's off the streets. Richard, what else have you got?
Yeah, this is. I mean, we have the RSPCA, of course, in Britain, not the ASPCA, but they perform pretty much the same function. they go out and rescue dogs, try and bring prosecutions to bad pet owners as well, which is I don't know if the ASPCA does that, but it's the RSPCA has no legal kind of uh, they can't prosecute off their own back. They have to go through the normal legal systems, but they do try. So that's a large part of the work, trying to secure convictions against bad pet owners and stop these people from owning animals ever again. Because if you're going to mistreat an animal, like Josh was saying, is to a lot of people, there's no difference between animals and children whatsoever if they've got them in their care, and to mistreat an animal, you shouldn't be allowed to be in a position where you can have more animals to mistreat. Because if you're going to be in that kind of person, who's to say you're not going to do it again? Who's to say you're not going to do it to any children you might have?
Well, how many times can they return a dog because they keep getting gay ones? Like that's gonna be a problem that comes up if they keep trying it.
I mean, thankfully with the female dogs, they don't tend to go lesbian, but
I have some
tend
dogs in
not
my
to.
past.
I
That,
said,
that
yeah,
say
tend not
otherwise.
to, but I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just you see it more from the male dogs.
But did we say the guy that founded the ASPCA, Henry Berg, like what he did? He saw he was made the Russian diplomat by Lincoln, so that's how far back this goes. He saw how horrible they were treating the horses over there, and basically came back to America. It's like, we're gonna start taking care of some animals now, and he was like in the courts taking care of this. He wasn't just the guy who's like, yeah, let's take care of some animals and throwing it off on some random person working underneath him. He started this company, or this ASPCA, and then he was in the courtrooms all the time, making sure that horses were getting taken care of, and just like fighting for animal rights. And the fact that this guy was a man of action brings me a lot of respect. And the fact that I didn't hear about him before I started researching for this segment seems sad. This seems like something we should be talking about in schools more than like, screw Christopher Columbus's day. Let's give this guy his own day.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, especially screw Christopher Columbus, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in October. Richard?
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Josh had just said, I think all too many times in history, the good people and the important people, the real important people who do things of note that can help the human race, are brushed aside and kind of fall by the waysides, and the prominent ones are the ones who don't necessarily do the good stuff, the ones who are rewarded, not always the ones who do the good stuff. And it's it wouldn't hurt any of us, like Josh has done on this occasion, to have a little look back and try and decipher for ourselves who the real kind of deserved people from history are. Certainly not Joseph Smith, or if we're going to put the ASPCA chap in prominence, he should certainly have a more prominent place in history than some of the other characters we've talked about on today's episode, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting close to the end. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts on this. Josh?
I'm a dog lover. Unfortunately, I have a boxer that's just been diagnosed with lung cancer. So like that's been like the worst thing that's going on for me. So I appreciate people that are taking care of animals and making sure that the animals that can get taken care of and get the lives that they deserve. This guy sounds like a hero. This couple that adopted Oscar Wilde, which I think I'm actually a big fan of Portrait of Dorian Gray, so I love that name. There's horrible people at the front of this, but this is one of the few times I'm known for being a pessimist. This couple is fantastic. They're doing great things in the world, helping this dog. This guy Henry Berg, fantastic person in history I wish I knew about before I had to read up for this segment. I think we can sign off on this one saying that there's some good happening in the world.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and we very much need it. Richard, your final thoughts?
This is it's always nice to see a happy ending to a story, especially a story where kind of suffering's been involved in any aspect whatsoever. I think it's just adds that little bit of like je ne sais quoi when you get that little bit extra when it's an ironic ending as well, and the dog was got rid of because they thought it was gay and it's ended up with a loving gay couple. That to me is just the icing on the cake. It just tops the story off beautifully. I love that. Love that little bit of irony at the end.
Oh yeah, you could not write that even if you tried. And I also am a pet lover as well. I have a 4-year-old husky who's absolutely gorgeous. Everybody who sees her loves her. Complete opposite of me. So, and I will say that at the time of this recording, she's actually getting ready for surgery to have some teeth removed. Because we feel like she was in a puppy mill and chewed on her cage and damaged her teeth. It's not life threatening. It's not. She's not even bothered by it. But there is a little bit of an infection there that could turn into something else. And instead of ignoring it, I already paid 2,000 to get some teeth removed about 6 months ago. I'm going to be paying another 2,000 by the time this set is taken out, and hopefully she'll be recovering nice and comfortable. And we're going to keep taking care of her because we are we are the steward of her. Josh, you're the steward of your boxer. Richard, you're the steward of, I don't remember what your dog was.
Is a
It's
Lakeland Terrier Cross.
Lakeland
Is
Terrier
a
Cross.
Yeah.
We are their stewards, and how we treat them, how we care for them is not a reflection upon them. It's not a reflection upon their sexuality. It's not a reflection upon, who and what they are. It is a reflection upon us. And so we need to take care of them because they'll also take care of us. Maybe not necessarily as guard dogs, maybe not necessarily as service dogs, but they will always take care of us because they're just good boys and girls.
Couldn't agree
Oh,
more with that. Anything talk about dogs, you're gonna get me on your side there. So you just moved up to like my favorite host of this show, Jason.
oh, thank you. In
Yeah,
spite of all my screw ups today, thank you.
well, you went out praising dogs and like talking about how unlike this couple or the initial couple, not the gay couple that adopted Oscar Wilde, you're willing to put out the money to take care of your dog. Like it can be hardship. My boxer is actually at my dad's house, so he's the one that's taking care of it. He's put so much money towards taking care of that boxer, and it's worth it though.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's reached a point where it's just a matter of time. But like she's fighting off and as long as she can to get as many moments as she can with us.
So this has been a great show. We've got some really great discussions in, some getting a little heavy and just ending on such a great note. And thank you both for being here with me.